So first of all, I appreciate everybody playing along with the group text. Just this is what the first of each month will look like. I have a standing commitment, and if it's not in your calendar, it doesn't happen. So it's in there, and I have to make it happen. And I think that this is a great opportunity because some of us can't always make the meeting in office. Some of us just maybe would appreciate not having to leave the house sometimes. And at least we could start each month and kind of check in with everyone and kind of get a rah routine going on. I'm going to start taping these so that our dual career agents can have a look at this. So, welcome to the first time. Cheryl, I was just checking in with Trish, and I'm going to let her get back to it. We were kind of just talking about how this past week has looked. So I'm trying to learn about everybody's practice. So go ahead, Trish.
So I entered all of my contacts from my phone into my command center, and I went through. I'm not sure how to um, like deactivate them, so I archived some because I was like, they're not. It's like my doctor's office and my dentist. Like I deactivated them,
You
but
archived them, like archived.
archived,
Okay,
yes,
perfect. Because
yep.
you can't always find them again if you ever needed to, if you archive them.
Yes.
Okay.
And then while I was at my husband's doctor's appointment again, I was talking to one of the lab nurses that was there. And I was telling her all about how I'm a new realtor. And she's like, oh my gosh, I just sold my house and I bought another one. And I was like, oh, perfect. So you're so familiar with the market in today's, day and age. And she's like, oh, yeah. And she said that she was working with, I think she said Jose, and he's with Keller Williams. And she
Jose.
showed me the pictures that they took of the houses and the little video that she had. And I gave her my website and asked her if you know anybody else who's looking to buy or sell, please spread my name. And then also, I am growing my contacts because I added her to my phone, as well as a home inspector, one of the other band parents that is working with the kids' high school band. I'm vice president of volunteers. She's handling uniforms. So we're kind of in cahoots because I have to get people in to help with uniforms. Her husband is a home inspector and has his own company. So she gave him my information. He reached out, and we're going to meet for coffee so that we can kind of lean off of each other. If anybody reaches out to him that needs a home inspection, he can be like, hey, do you have a realtor? And we're going to kind of like work with each other. So
That's
I
great.
am growing my catalog. So I say, yes.
I appreciate that was a very good update. I want to give a talking point. We want to make sure that we are referring at least three people. So you already have one inspector. You want to
Mhm.
make sure you like start interviewing, start finding some other inspectors so that then you create that list that has those three inspectors contacts, and you've got that nice template in your email so that when you go under contract with a client, you can say, congratulations on your contract. We talked about home inspection. Here are my top three recommended inspectors. That
Okay.
way, you are not guiding or steering, you are providing them with information so that they can make their own decision.
And
And
I did, sorry to cut you off, at the masterminds.
mhm.
I did talk to both of the inspectors that were there as well and got all of their pamphlets and business cards. So I'm on my way.
That's great. That's perfect. And now again, so the one of the most common questions when you get to home inspection and you're working with a buyer is how much does it cost or how much should I budget for? So I always have a rough idea, but then do defer to the actual inspection team, because again, if you've got three different inspectors, you may have a price range from 500 to 1,000 perhaps. So you don't want to, you kind of just want to use their numbers to kind of create a broad idea. But
Okay.
that's a great catch up. I love that. Hey, Miss Cheryl,
Um,
tell me about your week.
Um, Hi.
Hi.
So I love them. First of all, I love the mastermind. So,
Good.
one of the things that I got out of that, and then was to read The Millionaire Real Estate Agent.
Have you started that yet?
I did, and um, so I'm at the part where it talks about establishing systems.
Okay.
And so that's what I am like today. I'm working on getting Twilio set up.
Awesome.
And so you hear so many things. You hear Twilio, you hear, what was the other one? Follow Up Boss,
Mhm.
Brivity. So not ready for Brivity yet. Not ready for Follow Up Boss yet. So and you run all this stuff through ChatGPT, and you just get everything, and it saves time. So that's my number one system. That's my marketing system right now.
Well, there you go.
And then so I have the two in my pipeline. So I have one that I worked with Mike on through a letter that I sent. Well, both are through a letter that I sent. Um, he is looking for a home in Philadelphia before he can sell this
Okay.
home. So I followed up with the agent there. He had originally
Get that
had,
one question. Did you get that referral? Did you refer them to an agent or had they
yes.
already? Okay, yay.
Well, so to answer your initial question, yes to that as well. So when I spoke to them, when I first connected with them, they said that they were working with an agent.
Okay.
And I sensed frustration. And then they said, if you have someone in that area, I would be willing to talk to them.
Okay.
So I got Mike involved. It was over the weekend. Um, I chatted with that agent on Monday, and in that time when I had reached back out to the client, then I use that term loosely because I haven't signed anything with them.
Oh,
But my future client, when I reached back out to him, he said, well, I kind of feel bad because I was working with this person. And I said, well, I'm going to have my person reach out to you anyway, just so you make a connection. So he did. They told, okay, long story short, I'm going to wrap this up. they, he ended up letting me know that he didn't feel good about bringing someone else in when he was working with someone else. And then lo and behold, they had found a property for him, but they didn't pre qualify him right. So he lost it. So he went back to my referral, reached out to him and said, my relationship with my initial realtor has soured. So I want to work with you now. So we're back on track on that one. And then I have someone here who is getting their home ready. And I
great.
think I had reached out to you just because I wanted to go over the listing agreement with you.
Oh,
So I don't know if I should shoot it over to you and then you could take a look at it. But the thing is, like, I haven't really had a conversation with anyone about what I should be charging.
okay.
And I did some research, and they said the um, standard, or the industry standard, there's a range.
Yeah, exactly. Because all commissions are
Yes.
negotiable.
It is, but it's like you still
You
like
still need to price yourself appropriately.
right, because if the industry standard is 3, then how do you price up? So because if he's asking me to help him get ready, then that kind of takes me to 3.5, right? So
Really?
that's what I put on there.
All
But
right.
I wanted to know, I want to make sure that what I'm increasing is relevant and
Okay.
in line, you know?
All right. Trish, since it's just kind of a concise group, would this conversation with Cheryl be helpful for you? Okay.
Absolutely, because I have no clue what to put on
Okay.
those lines.
All right. So I don't have one open right in front of me, but I do them. So let's kind of talk it through a little bit. And I want to stress this. I was talking about this yesterday at the Power Hour. When I first became an agent, I started every single day. And at the time, we called it script practice, where I would call them and I would have a conversation to practice all of these different ways, whether it was a listing appointment, a buyer agreement, whether it was a for sale by owner. And I did that, and it was really helpful to practice these conversations so that they felt very fluid and very natural. So anytime I can help with that, borrow my words. I when I was in education, that's what the teachers used to say, give me the words. I don't know what to say. So, having a listing appointment with someone, you want to start first with yourself. What is your value proposition? What do you do that's different or special for your sellers? Cheryl is talking about, well, I'm actually going to do more than just show up and put a sign in. I'm going to help you prepare for that. Now, that could be helping them arrange cleaning. That could be referring them to contractors. That could be seller consultations that are around upgrades or updates. That could be a pre-inspection style conversation when we're talking about things that might be coming up. I work in this industry. I had a phone call with a agent earlier that he told me he is getting 2.5% for listing this particular property. So there are agents out there that are doing listings at 2.5%, or 3.5, or 4. Those are the most common ranges. And again, they're all negotiable, and they are all based on what you're going to do, what the seller requires from you, and the agreement that you and the seller have. Recently, I had a listing appointment with a client, and while we were talking, it became obvious that I was also going to be their buyer agent. We were doing this backwards. And because I'm going to be listing this house for them, and because of the work and how this buy could potentially look, I told them, because I'm going to be doing both sides and all of this, working with you as a buyer's agent, my normal is 3%. But because of this special circumstance, because it's an off-market property where you know the seller and you just want me to manage the contract and the paperwork, I didn't even need to open a door. I didn't send it to you. It's not even on market. And I'm going to be listing. I'm willing to write that contract for you for this amount. So you are working for yourself. So you have the ability to say, you know what, for this one, I'm going to charge 3.5%. You're not ready to go to market. You're going to need my guidance, my introductions, my assistance. And to do this particular listing, I feel comfortable being able to meet your needs, market this property and sell it at a 3.5% commission. And that is what you would be paying me. Now, there is the opportunity that the buyer's agent might also ask for some kind of compensation from you. We are not going to put that in the listing agreement. But I want to have this conversation with you because this is coming. Eventually, we will get a buyer and they might potentially ask for a commission. And again, that could be anywhere from 1.5 to 3. So that is a consideration for you, Mr. Seller. This is my fee and this is what I will be charging and this is what I will do. And my brokerage also has a transaction fee of this amount. So those are the two items that are involved with working with me through my brokerage. So Cheryl, your idea of 3.5% based on where you typically would live and the work that you feel that you might need is perfectly in line. And again, it's a conversation. So your seller might come back to you and say, well, you know what? I don't need all of that. I want this instead. What would that mean for me and you working together?
Okay.
Okay,
And to clarify, so I feel like the marketing of everything that is included in the everyday fee, and it's not like that would be included in the 3%. Whatever I need to do, so social media, whatever marketing, that's in the 3%.
correct.
He literally has like a garage full of crap.
Oh, yeah.
So that's like physical labor.
Okay, so talk to me about how are you going to talk to your seller about the importance of getting the property ready for pictures? Because that's a value that you are bringing. You are here
Yeah.
to help them get ready to market. So he's got a garage full of stuff. Let's practice a little bit. Do you want me to be the seller and you can practice talking to me?
Well, I already had the conversation.
Okay. Okay. Good.
So my background is banking. So I am very comfortable with um and and the value that I bring to him is strategy.
Okay.
So some things he didn't listen to me on, and I said, okay,
They never.
that might be a consequence. Will it kill the deal? I don't know. The market will answer that. But it will definitely impact the amount that you want to receive. So it was his parents' home, and it's basically empty now. Like the living part of it is empty. He had done a for sale by owner last year. It was on the market for the entire year. And in that time, he did some updates. So one of the conversations that I had with him, the kitchen is kind of an L shape.
Okay.
Um, so he updated the refrigerator, he updated the dishwasher. There's a glass stove top, but then you walk around and you have a Partridge Family double oven. And
Okay.
I said, tell me about your decision to leave that where- and
Right.
do not make that consistent. And he said, it works. It's still working.
Thanksgiving comes once a year and you need two ovens. That's how
And
you sell
that
the
is
listing.
exactly what he said. He said, it still works.
Aren't they funny?
Yes. And his wife, they have another home. I said, did your wife see that? What did she say? I want to meet her. I want to get her input on
Now
this.
pull in the wife. Exactly.
Right. And then he had this huge refrigerator that I'm sure at one point it was paneled and it
Mhm.
looked like the furniture. I mean,
Yep.
it looked like but then that was circa Partridge Family as well. So he didn't get rid of that. He put it in the laundry room. So I walked down, we walked down into the laundry room and I said, "You have to get rid of that." So I'm very straightforward. He said,
Good.
"I'm not getting rid of it. It works." I said, "But it's not, it works, but it's going to take away from the space. It's going to make this room look much smaller than it is because it is much larger than it should be." So I said, at the end of the day, and I was straightforward with him and I followed up with a letter to him. And I ended the letter with, "At the end of the day, this is your decision. My recommendations stand. I will do the best that I can do, and I will market your property aggressively. But these are my recommendations."
So when I bought my house, I had an old refrigerator and I was super excited. I
Okay.
threw it in the garage and I put the party beverages in there. I
Yep.
mean, so if you guys can clear out that garage and move the fridge into the garage and say, "Hey, you have a party fridge," that could
Hmm.
be an added point to the sale.
Oh, absolutely.
Yep.
So,
Absolutely. And he doesn't have to trash it.
Nope.
It's
yeah,
it's just taking away from where it is right now.
correct. We don't want
Yeah.
it in the laundry room.
No.
And Cheryl, I think that you are having good conversations and you're showing your value because you're show not only you're not sticking to your guns to be stubborn, you're sticking to your guns because you are the local professional and you know what it takes to sell a property. So I think that you're having a great conversation. Hi, Kaden. We were just doing a little like conversation and catching up. All right. So I wanted to
Okay.
I wanted to talk for a quick couple of minutes about uh, about scheduling, about the importance of your calendar. And I kind of want to start there because right now, yes, you are drinking from a fire hose. Everything is new. It's very exciting and you're moving all around. But at the same time, now is the best time to start getting a handle on your calendar, to start deciding what your realtor life looks like and making the time for it. Every Wednesday from 10 to 11, we will be having group coaching. That is the most important thing to start putting into your calendar. Another thing is, when am I making my phone calls? Because I will tell you that as you get busy, the things that you want to get accomplished get to be moving targets, and you have to be very intentional and actually give yourself the time to do the job. Managing deals only can happen if we have built our database, if we have talked to the people, if we have the work, which means that every day, every week, we need to have time that is set aside for the most important part of our job, which is, where is the rest of my business coming from? So we've got some really important things to put in our calendar, and then we schedule around it. I have a client that we went to do our final walkthrough this morning at 8:30 because that's what I needed to do to be on screen with all of you. And we got there, and the work isn't done, and everyone is upset, and we're all worked out. But at the same time, I have a commitment to you, and that crisis, which is a very big deal to my seller, to my buyer, it's all very big. But at the same time, even though it feels like an emergency, it also needs to wait until 11 o'clock when I have completed this responsibility. That is really important because you deserve that attention and your clients do also. But at the same time, as we are building our business, we cannot forget to keep building that business. Not every person that you speak to today is ready, willing, and able to buy. That is down the road work, which is incredibly important, because there's nothing worse than waking up the day after a closing and realize you don't know where your next deal is coming from. There's nothing in the pipeline, and you've got to start again to build the momentum, to remind the systems and structures that you have around you to build your business. So if 8 to 9 is when you're going to make your calls, that is when you make your calls. The contractor can wait. The friend that wants coffee can wait till after 9. Only reorganize your day. Do not remove your biggest responsibility, because the hardest part about working for yourself is remembering you have to do that work also. We get really caught up in the big shiny deal. But remember, that deal didn't happen by landing in our lap. That deal happened from us reaching out, from us following up, from us every day having some type of conversation around real estate. So please, please, please drop on Wednesdays from 10 to 11 group coaching. I realize that that doesn't always work for everyone. So I'm working on a way so that we can record them all, so that even if something does happen, because I understand there's no real estate emergency, but life does have emergencies. If you have to replace an item in your calendar, do that. Do not just remove it. And I want you guys to be able to have each other also. It was really great for Trish to hear Cheryl talk about what she's going through. And Caden is newer to the party. So this is all great for him to hear also. So there's a lot of opportunity for you to learn. And it would be amazing if we could do it together from 10 to 11 on Wednesdays. Now, first of the month will always be Zoom. So factor that into your day. You don't have to travel. But for the remaining Wednesdays in the month, I will be in the boardroom at Keller Williams. And I will be there an hour before so that we can have script practice, have conversations, make phone calls, and do the job of being an agent. I like to call them power hours, because sometimes if you only have 1 hour, you would be surprised what you can get accomplished. And that's a great feeling, because sometimes agents get frustrated because they time blocked for 3 hours of lead gen and nobody wants to do anything for 3 hours. Let's start with something manageable that you'll actually do. If an hour in the morning and an hour in the evening is how you're going to start to build your business, please be intentional about putting it into your calendar. Does that sound like something that we can do? Okay. Because that is a bold law. A bold law is that if it's not in the calendar, it doesn't happen. And that is the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And block it around. And that's why on the first of each month, when we send out the class schedule for what our brokerage is doing, go through that calendar, drop that into your calendar now
Mm-hmm.
so that you see it. But also, please make sure that when you are balancing your day, that you are making it a point to put in the really important stuff, because we all want to be agents and we all have a really big reason behind it. And often our big reason is our family, our friends, the life that we are building for ourselves. So, as much as it is incredibly important to budget your time appropriately to build your business, keep your eyes on why you're doing it. So can we do that? Does that sound reasonable for everyone?
Yes.
Yes, it does.
All right, I love that. And again, also, as someone that I like to make it perfect, and then I want to start. Sometimes you have to fail fast and fail forward. Maybe you think that it makes sense to do your phone calls from 10 to 11. And then your kids go back to school and you realize that it's going to be more like 9:30 to 11. That's wonderful. But be intentional about starting each week with some really good goals for the week in mind. Yesterday, Kaden and I were talking. Kaden, if you don't mind me sharing with Cheryl and Trish, Kaden is a dual career agent. So he does not have daily times that he is able to commit right now. He is working his schedule around so that he can work longer days to have one day off to concentrate on being a realtor. So he's going to structure his day in such a way that he's working realtor stuff that day. And we talked about a number of people to be reaching out to be adding into his database. And it's his number, not mine. Because my number may not make sense for him right now. But every one of you has that ability to pick a number, to schedule it, and to make it happen. I promise you that if you slowly and intentionally build your database, follow up with the people in it, have conversations about real estate, not always about selling, just about real estate. If you can intentionally do this, even if it is just for the next quarter, your January will already be built because your next transaction is living in your database or in your phone if you haven't got it all in your database. It will be someone you know that you talk to that's going to do business with you. So let's find those people in a systematic and intentional way. Because it's much easier to have these conversations with people you know and that will refer you than it is to have blind conversations sometimes for people. So I want you to make time for that business to grow around you. And I promise, if you work intentionally towards that goal, you and I will be having a completely different conversation in January. We will all be deal hacking instead of database building. We are really going to be spending time supporting each other and figuring out all of these different deals and what that looks like. And I know we're going to get there. All right. Cheryl, we had talked about your listing, like some conversation around that. And if you wanted to send me the listing agreement afterward, I can look at it and respond back, separately. One of the things that did come out in one of our recent team meetings around commission for the other side with a listing agreement, whereas we used to write our commission and then a monetary amount for the buyer, it has started to become recommended that instead, when it comes to the buyer commission, we say negotiable because it is. And in this interesting market, I have definitely used commission as a way to make my deal stronger for the clients. So you do not want to expose your seller to having to pay a commission that maybe the other side doesn't ask for. And what that looks like is I have clients that sometimes our strategy is they're only going to ask for 1% commission and they're going to pay the rest of my commission themselves. That enables them to control the price in a little different way. Perhaps they can come in lower because that seller isn't sending as much commission back to their agent. Now that's a strategy. Where it could cause a problem if you're representing the seller is if you've got an agreement that says that they are giving a straight 2%, that is what they are giving, whether or not the other side asks for it. That's what they're committed to give. And not every agent, not every buyer wants that from their agent. So it is better to, at this time, consider just putting negotiable. That way it is open to a conversation because your seller might be willing to pay 2%, 2.5%, 3% with a strong enough offer. So to keep your sellers in control, please consider only discussing your commission as the listing agent and leaving the buyer compensation as negotiable. Just a tip from me to you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
Okay.
I understand.
Okay. And again, this is a new way to think about things because for years, a listing agreement said buyer's agent gets this, seller's agent gets this, and they published it and it was just there and nobody had to talk about it. But in conversation, we're now realizing that that's another lever that we can pull to get to a best possible win-win for both sides. All right, so just to kind of check in with everyone, Kaden, before you got onto the call, Trish and I were checking in. She is a newer agent. She is a full-time agent. So her goal is different than yours. And one of the things that we had discussed was Trish getting all of the people from her phone into Command so that she could start utilizing the systems and structures that are inside Command to help talk to her database. So that's where she is. And now, once you get all of those people into your database, do you have them tagged in ways that make sense? And keep in mind, you can always add more tags. So when you're moving them over, the number one tag that I do recommend is tagging them based on their last name. Kaden and I yesterday talked about what's called the DTD2. That is a systematic schedule that Keller Williams came up with a number of years ago, wherein you are reaching out to the people in your database based on their last name, initial. So for example, this week is call everyone who ends in the letter C or K. Text everyone that that starts in the letter Q. Now, again, we don't have probably a lot of Qs in your database, but every week there are two new letters to call and a new letter to text. If that is the only system and structure you use to reach out to your database, every single person in your database will at least have been interacted with by you 4 times, which keeps you top of mind for the people that are in your database. And it becomes, because it isn't like you just reached out to all the 100 people at Christmas when everybody else is reaching out. You're going to very systematically be talking to them 4 times through the year through text and phone. That is one of the best places to start, because when you sit down to do your hour of reach out and conversations with your database, sometimes you're like, well, I don't even know where to start. I can keep calling that same buyer. No, I'm going to spread out the seeds that I'm planting so that not only am I still talking to my immediate people, I'm just checking in with everyone I know and reminding them I'm here and ready to help. Does that make sense to everybody? If you would, I am fairly confident that I have a screenshot fairly close in my phone of the DT D2 schedule. So if you would like me to text it to you, please text me outside of the group later today and I will send you over that screenshot. That way, we're all doing the same thing. We're all talking to the same people. And would that systematic approach be helpful for you at this time in your business? Yep, there we go. Cheryl's got a thumbs up. Yay! So we're going to be making sure that we're adding intentionally to our database. Let's try it. Let's try tagging everybody by at least last name so that we can start very intentionally reaching out to people. Now, Trish, you've already got them all in your database. Cheryl and Kaden, as you're building your database, maybe this is what it looks like for you. Okay, I'm going to open up my phone and I'm going to search all the last names that start with C. I'm going to call them from my phone. I'm going to tell them what I'm doing. And that could look like, hey, good morning, it's Keleigh. Oh my gosh, I haven't talked to you for so long. I see you in my phone. And I realized the last time we even texted or called was just a couple of weeks ago. And I don't even know if I mentioned I recently got licensed and I am building out my database. And you're in my phone and I'm going to move you into my database. And while I'm looking, I realize I don't even have your email. What the heck? Worst agent ever. Could you share that with me? That would be great. I promise not to spam you, but it would be wonderful to have alternate ways to connect. Thanks so much. Pretty quick, pretty painless, pretty easy. But now you know that if they're in your database, you have talked to them. They know you're an agent. You've got them tagged so you can be following up with them and slowly building and rebuilding that relationship. And, so that is how it could look to get them from your phone into your database into a very intentional way. About 2 months ago at a team meeting, they had asked some of the agents that had been agents for a long time, 5 years or more. And they were talking to some of them. And the number one thing that all of the agents said was that when they started, they got so busy trying to find the work and do the things and all the stuff, they forgot the kind of like the most important step, which is build the database so that you then can let the database work for you. And that is what they all recommended. They're like, you know what? I got into my business and then I had to do it. Find a way for you that makes sense to slowly build that database the right way from the start. So that's a wonderful way to make that happen. These are all recommendations. You decide what your business looks like, but I can tell you that I did build my business this way. And I've got over 1,000 people in my database. And I know them all. And I have notes on them all. And I know what their last name is. So that is a healthy database. So I know that there is work inside there, and I just have to be the agent of choice that stayed in contact for when they're ready. How does that make you feel?
I like tagging them with the letters, like you said. I just started doing that.
good.
I have
Cheryl?
to go through and actually get the last names entered because a lot of them are in there as,
Phone.
yes, a
Okay.
lot of them are in there as like nicknames. So I do have to go through and kind of clean it up a little bit more.
Mhm.
I told you I went through and archived some, but now I have to actually go through and make sure that I have the correct information and update the information that I do have. Um, I don't have as many emails, but I have been noticing that whenever I'm wishing somebody like a happy birthday through a text, my phone's like, do you want to save this as a birth date to the contact? And I'm like, oh my gosh, yes. Now,
Mhm.
by doing that, will it update in command or would I have to update it manually?
I believe that once you import your contacts from command, it's a one and done situation. I do not think that it is a live conduit that it constantly updates.
Okay.
When that happens to me, when I realize I don't have one in my phone popping up on my calendar, I
Mhm.
put it in my phone, but I still go to command and I put it in there. I've never seen it
Okay.
already.
Okay.
Fun fact, there is a smart plan inside command called birthdays. And
Hmm.
what it does is if you put Keleigh Veraldo-Zucchero on a birthday smart plan, March 13th, you're going to get a task, excuse me, reminder that says, send a card, Kelly's birthday's coming. And then on March 20th, you will get a task reminder that says, today's the day, reach out to Keleigh, it's her birthday.
Okay.
Okay. So while you're in there touching your database, first tag them by last name so you know when you're going to call them and text them. And if you've got a birthday, why not be the agent that remembers their birthday? So that is, and again, this is automated that only can happen from a command database that has been built out. So if you've got DTD2 and you throw in a birthday, now you're talking to them at least 6 times a year. And that's just very passive CPR to keep this person alive in your database. But at least you know that now you're reaching out for something. For them, the DTD2 looks like you're just always there because it's every quarter. Whereas birthday is very intentional. This is an agent that remembers something as personal as my birthday. They're more than just trying to sell me a house. They want to know me. And people want to do business with who they like, know, and respect. They're going to remember that you remembered their birthday. Even better, if your birthday text lands during a week when they're sitting at coffee with one of their friends because it's their birthday, and their friend says, I cannot believe this. We may be moving to Chicago because he is out there interviewing for a job. Weird. I just got a text from my friend Trish, who's a realtor. Let me connect you. Staying top of mind in ways that feel natural and kind and organic. Don't feel salesy. And we are not a salesy group. Yeah, we want the sale. But Keller Williams is known for also educating their agents, for their community outreach, for the fact that we are the only international brand. So our brand sells ourselves, and the people that we are under that brand make people feel some kind of way. So lean in on that. Does that sound like a juicy little tidbit as I see that it's 10:57? All right. Does that sound like some things that we can do this week? Time block to do the actual job. Keep building and refining our database. And also make sure that we are taking time for ourselves, no matter what that looks like. Make some time for yourself also, because This is a marathon, not a sprint. And I want you running right beside me.
So I have a quick question, I guess.
Okay.
So one of the potential buyers that I've been talking to, one of my husband's other doctors, we spent a lot of time with the doctors, so you're
Hey,
probably gonna
they
hear
got
me
money.
talk,
They
right?
need homes. They need homes
Right.
too.
So, I had told you that the first time that I met him, he was talking about him and his husband needing to find a house and get out of the rental. So the second time that I had reached out to him to do a follow-up, he said, I'm going on vacation. Talk to me in a couple weeks. So I waited a couple weeks and I texted him, I think it was Monday.
Okay.
And I was like, hey, how's it going? How was your vacation? Did you bring the sun back? Obviously, I'm loving it. You know, the weather's great. Just so you know, there's a ton more houses on the market. Let me know when you guys are ready to start chatting. And he's like, hi, Trish. I'm so sorry. Now is not the time. A family member just passed away. So reach back out in a few.
Okay.
How long do you give when that kind of happens? Like, do I give them another week or two? Do I wait until he reaches out? Because he did say, hopefully we can start looking soon.
Okay.
So do I wait for him or do I reach back out again?
All right. So here's how I would step through this situation. I don't know them, so let me know if it doesn't feel genuine and true to you. But do you have their address?
Not yet, no.
Do you have an office address for them, like a business, like the reason I'm asking is I would send a note. This is a
Mhm.
very sad and devastating loss. And that's just you being a human.
Yeah,
Okay. I would do that.
okay.
Would realize that loss is really hard and that memory is really affected by that. You get stuck in a trap of days and not knowing days and times. He was very intentional and said soon and give us, take a beat. I would give them maybe a week and a half to 2 weeks. And then my gentle check-in would be either I sent a card to the office. I hope it found you. I've been thinking about you a lot. If they're
Yeah,
ready to talk, they know why you're really calling. If they're not ready to talk, you were once again this kind, compassionate person that is showing the emotional bandwidth to not only navigate this, but other things, because moving is a stressful, exciting, emotional time.
okay.
It is a gentle thing. Now, I realize that when you're a new agent and you're focusing most of your on to just a couple of things, you're like, I only have a couple of people for diversity here. Um, that it feels like it's taking forever. You're like, oh my God, you might be my first deal. Could you? I get that. Trust me, once you get going, you're going to have to remember, because as important as this is, you're going to have to put in your calendar, follow up with Mike and Jim in a week and a half. Because as the things happen and you're doing other things, this isn't sitting right here. And that will have, but I vote that you go at it this direction. It's not going to change them needing to buy. It's not going to change them needing to move. How you handle them now during this loss, that by the way, they felt comfortable enough to share with you.
Mhm.
Use that level of connection to continue to be the person that got their trust and keep it through this process.
So
Maybe a
should
week.
I, would it be weird to ask, like, is there somewhere that I could send flowers for the
Not at all.
beloved departed? Or like, okay, I could
And
definitely
take
do
a
that.
receipt and write it off with your taxes next year. So you can't say that.
Okay.
I mean, it could be, or, and if you know where his office is, you could drop off donuts. I mean, you could, there's lots of ways, even if you don't have their address to send a card, there is a way for you to convey some kind of kindness.
Okay.
And something other than text might be a nice way to add to your connectivity with them. All right.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's all right. Okay, it's 11:03 and I have time blocked this and I have other things happening, so I'm going to be very intentional and honor my clients. I really, really, really appreciate you guys being here and being open. This is a lot of how I do coaching. I have some fun. We answer questions, we talk stuff through, and we kind of all get in the boat together and start rowing. And I hope that it feels like a good fit. And I cannot wait to see you in person next Wednesday in office, 10 to 11, power hour, 9 to 10. All righty.
All right. Thank
I'm
you.
only a text away. Cheryl, send me that. Okie doke. And have a great day, everybody.